Okay. Hi YouTube. This is just so jazzy. I'm sorry, sassy. Just so sassy, Andrea. Oh God, this is gonna be a hard review. I felt like I had to put on my Sunday best and I found something that represents House Terrell like a little flower, because I am like really like emotional right now. Let's just give a hand to Diana Rigg. She did a phenomenal job as Lady Terrell. I thought that Lady Terrell was actually going to make it to the end of the season, and I was hoping that she was going to be able to see Cersei removed from the throne. And unfortunately, like we all know, in the world of the Game of Thrones, you don't know when your card or your number is going to be pulled, and unfortunately hers was pulled. I just want to first let's back up a little bit. I just want to first touch on the Daenerys and Jon meeting. I thought that Daenerys, in my opinion, was very rude to Jon. I didn't understand where this diva attitude was coming from with her. It was like I was seeing a totally different Daenerys. I understand that you have to come across as a leader, or you have to come across as a queen, or as somebody of authority, and you want people to take you serious. But I just felt like, okay, you know, you made it home, great. You got the army, great. You got you a fleet, great. You got your 3 grown dragons, great. But just like Jon said, he was like, you know, the only thing that you really got going for you is the fact that your father was the Mad King. You have not even coming home, the castle. It wasn't like you had to fight Stannis for the castle, or it wasn't like you had to come up against any type of opposition to gain entry into the castle. You know, you were able to walk up in there. The castle was vacant. You were able to set up shop. You didn't even have to go to war for that. And I felt like, okay, even though you did what you did in the other lands that you know had left behind to come to Westeros, I just felt like, okay, for you to tell somebody to bend the knee and to say, you know, your ancestor owes my ancestor you, they pledged 1,000-something years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, well, pretty much if his father waged a war with his best friend and they overthrew your father, I think I would consider that oath pretty much broken. And for you to expect for him to bend a knee and to honor an oath that was obviously broken, I thought that was very naive on her part. And I thought that Tyrion should have had probably stepped in and maybe kind of, you know, I don't know. I think Tyrion obviously is trying to be her supporter, but I think the strategy that he implemented for her was terrible. I honestly felt like when I was hearing the strategy, well, we're going to take Castle Rock, and I'm thinking, wasn't it a couple of seasons ago it was made clear that the Lannisters were broke and they had no more gold in their gold mines? And I just thought to myself, I said, well, isn't that why the father, you know, Papa Lannister, made the kind of like the marriage arrangement deal between, you know, the Tyrells? You know, because they knew that the Tyrells had money and they had minerals and livestock and everything that they would need. So he was trying to, I think in a polite way, he was trying to build that alliance with the Tyrells. And I just felt like Tyrion knew before he had to go on a run he even met with, he did his research as to hand. He was like, okay, we have no money. We have no money. We owe a ton of debt. Why would you tell or instruct your queen to go after property that is probably in debt to the bank? Obviously there's nothing of value in the vaults. The gold was gone. And I just felt like, well, why would you send your part of your troops over to take siege of a castle that's not really of too much value? I just didn't understand that strategy. And then I didn't understand why Daenerys wasn't considering what Yara Greyjoy and Lady Tyrell, what the advice and Illyria saying. They were trying to advise her, and they're like, look, while we're here, while we're strong, while they're not even mobilized in King's Landing, before they start thinking of strategy against us, let's go and hit them. And I just thought, okay, that's a good idea. I mean, you still can write a story from that. I mean, they could have went, it could have been halfway successful, or it could have been not successful, but it's just the point that Daenerys sat on her hands. And I just thought that was a little odd that Tyrion, this is where he failed her, because just because you're up against your sister and your brother and you think you got the upper hand, oh, I know them, I know how they operate, I know how they think. You act like they don't know you and they don't know how you operate and how you think. The thought never crossed your mind that your father, your brother, and your sister had no clue that you honestly was sneaking prostitutes in and out of Castle Rock, and they had no clue that you was doing that. I just thought that was a little foolish on his part to assume that. And furthermore, I think the thing that I just really loved about Sansa, when she was talking with Jon and they was talking strategy, Sansa, by no means, I can't compare her to Daenerys, but at the same time I can to a degree. I feel like Sansa been through a lot more. Oh, excuse me. When Daenerys was trying to say, well, I was raped and put in chains, and I was, I've been through so much. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what, sweetheart? No, you weren't raped. Sansa was raped. The poor women that had their father kids in past the wall, that were giving the sons to the White Walker as a sacrifice, they were being raped by the father, and they got raped by the night watchman that turned. And I'm like, what you experienced with Khal Drogo was not, in my opinion, considered rape. And the difference is this: you and your brother were trying to get home, and your brother, okay, he bullied you into marrying Khal Drogo. You went through with it, and he gifted you a beautiful white horse. You had handmaidens. You were not being chewed on, slapped, beaten in front of the men or in front of the women. Granted, you were a virgin and you didn't know how to have sex with him, and you didn't know how to please him. And after you got the help from the sex slave in knowing how to communicate with your husband better, as far as, no, this type of way of having sex is not what I like. I prefer to look at you in your face. I prefer to, have sex a certain way. Okay, once that got established, and once you were done with that part of, the awkward phase, you and Khal Drogo was fine as wine. You know, it wasn't no issues, and you were calling him your sun and your stars, and he was calling you his moon, and I don't consider that rape. Sansa was being abused. The first night she had sex with Ramsay, he had Theon watching, and he was just completely, that's called rape and being defiled, not what you're talking about. Secondly, I think once again it goes back to the fact that Cersei, you don't know your enemy. And when you had people who lived in King's Landing all their lives advising you on this situation, you and Tyrion failed to listen. And I'm surprised that Tyrion did not listen. He should have had known better. I'm really actually shocked that this particular character didn't advise you a lot better. As far as like I said before, as far as the whole Cersei and the revenge on, you know, Lady Tyrell, I think once again Lady Tyrell would not have been in the position that she got placed in had Daenerys listened to her advice. Once again, it goes back to your elder is trying to give you some sound advice, and she's been around and you did not listen to her, and now this woman and her house has been completely wiped out. And Cersei, taken from the Bible, you know, she basically, her strategy was, okay, this woman killed my daughter. Okay, I have different ways that I can kill this woman, and different ways I can kill her daughter. But Cersei said, I'm gonna do an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and she killed her daughter, or eventually the girl would die. But she basically planted a poisonous kiss on Illyria Sand's daughter, and Illyria Sand can't get upset because, like it was stated, Oberyn was winning the fight against the Mountain. He the one decided to fight the Mountain for Tyrion, and he was winning the fight. Cersei even, you know, she conceded. She said, hey, he was winning the fight. He started taunting the Mountain, and the Mountain, that gave the Mountain an opportunity to, hey, I'm a grab his leg, and I'm a slam him on the ground, and I'm a crush his skull. And you cannot blame Cersei for that. That was Oberyn's, unfortunately, that was his fault. And to kill her daughter, I mean, Cersei had every right to get her revenge. And when like I said, when I saw, you know, her, you know, I'm like, did that bitch just spit on the floor? I'm like, really? You know, they got your daughter here. You're already in hot water. And then it's like, you're gonna disrespect Cersei and spit on her floor, and now, you know, okay, you really you just really messed up there. And I just feel like Team Lannister, I have to side with them for this episode. I mean, they had to do what they had to do. And Cersei, the Lene Headey, as I said in my first video, this woman deserves an Emmy. She deserves a Golden Globe. She is playing the hell out of this role. She is giving us Oscar level performances with this character. And this episode really showcased her, and once again in another light, where she's giving us three-dimensional acting. She's not giving one-dimensional acting, and I think she's doing an excellent job with this character. And I wouldn't even want to kill her off. If I was the writers, I would try to keep her on the show as long as I can. I'm trying to think anything else I want to bring up with this episode. I just know, like I said, I was just really hoping that Lady Tyrell was going to make it to the end, but you know, that's the Game of Thrones life, you know. But other than that, I think the thing that I'm interested in wanting to see, I want to see a little bit more Brandon's his character and more of his storyline. I think we're going to get a little bit more deeper into his ability to go back and forth in the past and probably in the future. And I think one of my theories is I really believe that Brandon is obviously I'm thinking he was the older gentleman who was the three-eyed raven, and I think he might even be the White Walker King, because something is telling me Brandon's ability to go back in the past is what's going to mess up the ripple in time, and he's gonna morph back into the past where he's not gonna be able to get back out of that. And I really believe that he's probably gonna be the original Brandon Stark that they talked about, you know, that was the one that Bran the Builder, I think, in the book. Like I said before, I haven't read the books, but my mom had read the books, and she's been kind of feeding me a little bit from the books, like a little bit of the storyline, and I'm like, okay, it seems like Brandon is going back and forth trying to fix the timeline. Something happened where he had to build, he saw in the future what was going to happen, so when he went back in the past to build this wall, that was his intentions of why he built the wall and why he made it mandatory for it to always be a Stark in Winterfell. And if you notice the tree that is there on the grounds at Winterfell, it looks like one of those three-eyed raven type of trees. So it just seems like I actually want to see a little bit more of the Brandon Stark storyline. And pretty much that's it. But I just, like I said, I'm gonna make another video of my theories. That was just one of my main theories, but I really want to just say that if anybody is watching this, let's start us a fan page for Diana Rigg, for her to get an Emmy and for her to get a Golden Globe for this last performance. I thought she did a wonderful job. And that's it, YouTube. I hope y'all like my little get up. Like I said, I felt like I was in mourning. I felt like after I saw that episode last night, I was like, oh God, I feel like I just felt like I just went to a funeral. So, all right, with that being said, I'm signing off. Please subscribe if you like my reviews. Hopefully I'm gonna get some more reviews out there for you guys. And that's it. Bye-bye.